welcome back to Make Life Fun Again with Harry and Sharlene. This is episode 2, and this is a continuation, or rather a smack bang in the middle of episode 1, but this is a continuation of episode 1, which was our meeting story, basically our get-together story, our love story. And it's a beautiful episode. If you did not check that out, this episode might be a little bit lost on you, so definitely go back and check that one out before you listen to this one.
Correct.
Now, what we shared in that one was how we got together and all of the signs and wonders and the beautifulness that surrounded our marriage and how we got together, everything like that. But any fairy tale has its moment where the audience is captivated and then all hope seems lost.
Yes.
And our story was no different. And that is what we're going to be sharing with you all today. Now, this episode definitely has the potential to become extremely emotional and very difficult to retell. But we're going to do our best to keep it together and just to share the facts.
Yes.
I think that's basically it. We don't need to relive it to its fullest. We're just going to share what happened pretty much right in the middle of basically right in the middle of the year.
Yes, that we got married.
We got married.
Correct.
So, just a very brief summary of what happened in episode 1. We met each other in primary school. We parted ways when we went to high school. I left town. I came back to town. You saw me. There was signs and wonders. We got together and we got married. And that entire thing happened in the span of about a year.
Yes, correct.
Now, right in the middle of that, I would say roughly-ish, or more towards the beginning of it, I would say, you were having some pretty hard battles that you were fighting on your end.
Correct.
And that's basically where this story is going to start. So I'm going to hand it over to you, and you can tell them what happened.
Cool. So, like we mentioned in the first episode, we got the signs and the wonders and all of those type of things. Now, because we are all human and because we all have human emotions, we sometimes tend to suppress them.
Yes, we do.
When you think it's not good to have them, if I can say that. And that is something that happened with me, is I was brought up in a very Christian home, very loving home, but also in a place because I made the decision that I was not going to date in primary school or in high school, and the first person that I'm going to date was going to be my husband. I basically, every time I had a crush on someone or any time hormonal or inappropriate thoughts would pop up, I would do my best to get rid of them. And usually it did
that's
work.
Not very Christian-like to think inappropriate thoughts of another
exactly,
human being.
You know?
Yeah.
And that usually it kind of worked. But this time it was different. And
because it was me and I'm gorgeous.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
There we go.
But I do think it's also because my love and feelings for you was so great and so big. And then all of a sudden, the hormones kick in and you've got these thoughts, and that was before we got together, and now you're like, nope. I cannot have those thoughts about that human being. It's not right. It's not good.
Now, I actually want to jump in here because
yes,
I think it's very important to mention that I had those exact same thoughts. And feelings.
Yes.
And same with you. I also decided not to date. I also decided to keep myself pure for my wife one day. And that's a beautiful thing. And we absolutely 100%
to this day, if we did it,
that.
yes, like if I had to do that over again, I would do exactly the same. I would 100% make the decision of not dating before marriage. I think to this day, it's still it's one of the best decisions that I made.
Absolutely.
And yes, not having sex before marriage is still one of the greatest decisions. And
that is
think
probably
it's
the
powerful.
most powerful decision you can make for your marriage.
Exactly. Because that's the thing. There's absolutely nothing to compare with. There's nothing to go back with. There's no remorse. There's no anything like that. You've only got one another. And that, I think, is such a beautiful gift to experience for the first time when you're actually married.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But that said, I mean, that then happened, that we got together, or actually before we actually decided on, that we're going to spend the rest of our lives together, I did have those type of thoughts about you. And I think that is something that in the human mind, it's a necessary thing as
Absolutely.
well. You do need that type of attraction to a person. But growing up, always hearing that sex is taboo, that type of thing, you automatically go into, oh, but it's wrong. You're not allowed to think those thoughts. And then you try to suppress it. But the more you try to suppress something, the more you're going to think about it on a, and then seeing the person doesn't make it any better. So that is basically what happened. And we then, the day that we actually had our conversation and we chatted and shared our story and our signs with one another, and we decided we are going to be together, that was a day that I had excitement, but I also had a bit of anxiousness in me, I would say. And it was a feeling that I couldn't describe at that stage, but I think it was because I had the other type of feelings and thoughts as well. And you do try and just, I don't know, get rid of it. I don't really know why.
I totally get you.
And that then happened, that because I suppressed those emotions, my brain went into a state of then feeling nothing. And I didn't understand it at that stage because, I mean, how can you all of a sudden not feel anything? And it was a very difficult situation because all of a sudden I would wake up and I would not feel a thing. I wouldn't see anything as beautiful. I wouldn't have feelings or thoughts towards anybody. And it confused me actually so much that this is the best time of my life.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden I don't have butterflies. I don't have any of those type of things. And
yeah, I think, and it's true because we could see it as well.
Yes.
Like there was no excitement, there was no drive, there was no
nothing.
Like even just getting out of bed was like,
and I can remember, like I wanted to sleep all the time in the hope of if I wake up tomorrow, it will be better. And then I wake up and it's just exactly the same thing. And it's like, what is going on here? And at that stage, it really felt to me that God abandoned me.
Yeah. I remember that. You said that so often, and I think the thing that made that so freaking, I want to use the word annoying, but so difficult to manage was you had a very, very solid Christian upbringing.
Yes.
So you knew 100% for a fact God's not going to abandon
you. Yes.
And yet your brain kind of wanted
put you
to
into that
believe
situation.
that for some odd reason.
But not just that. I mean, there's that scripture in the Bible where there's that one sin is where the Holy Spirit is taken away from you. And all of a sudden I'm like, but everything it feels dark. It feels like I'm just seeing black. I can't feel anything. I can't see anything that's beautiful or nothing. Like I just don't have that excitement or joy or, experience in me to kind of feel anything. And I was like, and that must be then because God has taken, himself away from me. And it's like you said, a belief that my brain basically wanted to cling on. That is what happened.
And it's such a horrible thing because there's a way that they describe it. I mean, what is hell? Now, when people think of hell, they think of fire and, gnashing of teeth and worms eating your flesh and whatever. I know there's a visual for you. But hell has been described, and I find this absolutely beautiful. But hell has been described as merely the absence of God. And I think that's what you experienced at that stage in time, was the absence of God, because you had convinced yourself that was what happened.
What it is. And I mean, there's a saying that goes that you can either make a hell out of heaven or a heaven out of hell, right? And a person's brain can do that.
I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Your brain is powerful.
It is really crazy if you think about it, what can happen in that stage. And I think because I was in such a, can you say, protective home, I never really had contact too much with the outside world and how things happen. Like, I was very protective, and in such a good way. I mean, if I really do think about it, it's actually such a nice thing for a person's parents to do it. But there are complications with that as well, unfortunately, because you do not get to build up life experience or things like that. And I think then what happened is, because I felt that way, I was like, but it doesn't make sense to have anything else other than the feeling of God that abandoned you.
Yeah.
And I can remember my mom taking me to the doctor, and
this was now a normal GP.
This was a normal GP, yes. Just to kind of figure, because they could all see like something is not right. Like, all of a sudden, Sharlene, that's bubbly, and that, even though I've never been like a very extroverted person, I still have a bubbly personality.
Oh yeah, you freaking glow.
And
absolutely.
And at that stage there was just nothing, like absolutely nothing. And you can't fake that. You understand? It's like,
you can't. Your eyes gave it away.
Like it gives it away straight away, actually. And I can remember going to the GP, and the GP looking at me and being like, nope, and we need to get help for this girl. And because I think it's also the first time that my mom them were faced with something like this, they also didn't really know how to handle it, I would say.
Yeah, because I mean, your dad is also, I mean, he's a very spiritual person.
Yes.
He's like always constantly in prayer. Your mom was always like singing and playing music whilst cooking and whatever. She was like, a light to the world. Your brother is, I don't think I've ever been around your brother where he was not busy humming or tapping his foot or whistling or snapping his fingers and just like, creating melodies out of freaking plates and whatever. That's just what he does. And that's your entire family. Mm-hmm. So, the moment you kind of just went to this dullness, that hit everyone extremely hard.
And I think one of the things that they then wanted to do is to kind of get help wherever you can. And obviously it's going to be that you're going to go to the people that you trust the most as well, right? So because I grew up in a very Christian home, I was also, how can I say, brought up in a church. So from 3 years old, I can remember being at that specific church that we went to at that stage. And they were like my second family. I mean, I think if you can remember, like with the 21st party that we spoke about.
They were there.
In the first episode, that's basically the people that I hang around with. It was the church group people, and not even young people. It was more like my dad them's age. It was more like their type of friends. So it's not really that I even had friends of my own age. If it was very little.
Yeah.
But it was more of spending time with the older generation of people, and you see them as your mentors, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
You build a very good relationship with them, and they see how you grow and all of that type of thing. So obviously, because the pastor of that church, he was like a spiritual father, to me, it would make sense that he would also be the one to reach out to, right?
Yeah,
I know
makes
he did counseling and things at that stage, but this is now what happened because my brain didn't want me to cling on that. I didn't want to do anything or didn't really have anything to do with church at that stage.
Yeah,
I didn't want to go there anymore. I didn't want to hear what they had to say. And I think that was also it was something that I went through, but I also think, looking back at that, people probably thought you were trying to keep me away from church.
Yeah.
And it was such a bad thing, because that's not the case at all. But we'll get to that as well. But in any case, just going back into that. So went to the pastor, and then he gave us a number of a psychiatrist that was in a different town that we were staying in. And we had an appointment with her where I could go and meet her and just tell her what was going on, and, to see how she can help me.
Yeah.
So my dad took me through the day, and I basically had to tell her what was going on. But I didn't even know myself what was going on. So it was difficult to put into words what I actually felt or experienced or sensed in my brain. And she listened to what I said, and then it was diagnosed as clinical depression, right?
Yeah.
And there, I can remember, even my dad was like, no, what is depression, And I think that's the thing, because
there was
sometimes
a big misconception,
there's a big misconception, but also not just a misconception. I think because you do not have knowledge about what mental health issues and stuff can really be, you don't research it, or you don't really know what it is. So every time something like that happens, you kind of want to see it as a spiritual thing, or you kind of want to, or when you hear depression, it's almost like there's that stigma. And I know in recent years, mental health people are more interested in that. But there was a time where those weren't really the topics that you speak about, right? You didn't really hear about it. And especially depression. I think when people said they felt depression, they almost didn't even want people to know about it, because it's almost like but just get over it type of thing, right? It's like, just get over it.
Yeah.
And it's not something to just get over.
No, I think back then, everybody kind of thought, oh, you're depressed. Oh, you're just sad. You're just, whatever. Not realizing that it was an actual freaking disease. It's your brain malfunctions.
Yes, exactly.
And nobody kind of grasped that concept, and everyone was kind of like, not everyone. I think it's very important to just mention one thing. I think you have to at least take this opportunity to also acknowledge how fortunate you were, in that you were surrounded by people who truly cared and truly did everything that they could think of,
yes,
with their limited knowledge to try and help you. Let's take you to the pastor. He was like, oh, I don't know how to deal with this. Let's take you to, let's recommend this. And I mean, you did your rounds. You spoke to a lot of people, and a lot of people wanted, just try to help. And I think that's something where you're very fortunate. You were surrounded by people who cared enough to give you that help. And the sad reality is, there are people out there who never even have that.
That's exactly it.
Who just have to go through it on their own. And I think a lot of the times that doesn't really end well.
Yep, definitely. And I think they are maybe also too afraid to share, because sometimes it's like you said, not everybody is fortunate enough to have a community of people that really do care about you so much that they would go that extra mile for you and try and help as best as they can. And so I was diagnosed with clinical depression, which again, didn't make sense to me, because it's like, why would I be depressed?
Yeah, because you
don't
yourself
understand
didn't
it.
understand
I didn't
what
understand
depression was.
exactly, and I'm like, but why? Like, this can't be that. It's no, it has to be something else. And but I got the medication, and I can't remember what medication it was. I know it was an antidepressant that I was on, and I think there was calm meds or something like that as well.
Yeah, it was some
kind
anxiety, something.
Yes, but kind of to regulate, I think, your sleep patterns a little bit as well. I think it was something like that.
I'm not sure.
And because I think it was 2 or 3 tablets that I had to take. It's long ago. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
But any case, so then I went to her, and it was actually, like, if I think back at it, a very beautiful place that they had. But to me, it was just a building at that stage. It's just like nothing. And very sweet old lady that spoke to me, gave me the medication, and she wanted me to come back, I think, every month, just to kind of track and to see how the medication is working. Right. Because obviously when you go on antidepressants, it's not that it's going to be like one day and then it's fixed. Ta-da! Right? I mean, it does take time, as with anything. Like, even if you go onto vitamins or anything like that, it does take time for your body to absorb and for it to work. And I can remember after the first month going back and being like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not feeling any change or anything like that. Everything just seems the same, except now I'm drinking medication.
Yeah.
Which
annoyed your dad more than...
It annoyed him so much, yes, because he didn't understand why a person has to take medication for that.
Yeah.
You understand?
You're just sad.
Like,
just cheer
get
up,
over
man.
it. And he didn't say it in so many words. And I think if a person actually have to have a conversation with my dad, you'll probably see something different. But I think he got more angry.
Yeah, he was very angry with the whole thing.
About it, knowing the situation, not knowing the situation. I think that's
and also seeing his daughter just like really going through shit.
And so then he took me through after a month, and I had a conversation with the lady again and told her that I still feel exactly the same. Like, I don't see any difference or feel any difference or anything like that. And then I think she upped the dosage a little bit or something like that. And then I had to go and see her again. And after a month of taking the medication again, I went back to her and I was like, man, I'm still not feeling anything. But chatting to her, it's kind of like just, I'm not saying anything against doctors or anything like that, but sometimes it does feel like you have to tell them what the problem is, and then they'll just give you the medication, right? It's not that they kind of give you a proper diagnosis or anything like that. And that's what it felt like to me at this stage. I'm not saying anything bad about her or her practice or anything like that. That was just my reality and how I experienced it at that stage. And then I thought to myself, you know what, if I maybe tell her a lie and tell her, yes, I'm feeling better, then I don't have to go back, but deep inside, it's
just not
and so I never went back to her again, but I was still on the medication because I had to complete the course. And I think it's that type of thing. Like, they do give you like a prescription for quite a few months.
I think it was close to a year, if I can recall
something
correctly.
Like that. And you have to continue with it, because if you just leave the medication, there is a very
it hits you very hard.
It hits you very hard, and you can actually have like a very bad relapse and things like that. But at that stage, to me, it was like, but nothing has changed. Like, everything still feels exactly the same. And I don't really know. I think after that, we actually spoke to someone that was in the church that you grew up in when you were a child. And she also gave me, like things to try and this and that,
Yeah.
which I did. And again,
I remember even your cousin came through from quite far away,
yes,
and he even had a chat with you and everything. Like, I mean, everybody
yes,
just did their best.
did their best for sure. But I think if I actually have to say, my cousin was the one that I really do appreciate, like
Yeah, of course.
what he did, because he did it in such a different way.
It's such a cool way. I freaking love the way that he did it.
And he was like, but there was nothing wrong in the way that you were thinking.
Yeah.
You're a human being.
Because he was the only one to really pick up on that. When you shared, what's going on in your head and whatever. And he was like, man, you've just suppressed all of these things over the years because you wanted to be pure.
Yep.
And you know what? And he put it so plainly and so simply. And, when you're in that situation, you tend to overthink everything, and everything is just like overwhelming. And he just sat down and he didn't turn it into a joke, but he lightened it. And he was like, man, do you really want to get married to someone you're not attracted to? And you were like, no, of course not. And he's like, well, what do you think attraction looks like? You have some pretty inappropriate thoughts. That's the beauty of getting married.
Yep.
You get to have those thoughts. And it's like, oh yeah. It was really cool.
It
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. Anyway.
And I think, but because it was already in my mind, the clinical depression, like even having the conversation with him, if I had the conversation with him before it actually turned into that, it would have been very different. And now all of a sudden you hear that, but now you're struggling with the other
actual illness
part of it, right?
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, but how do you get that sorted if you don't even understand it yourself?
Yeah.
And I didn't go to, so like I said, I went to counseling, but it was not really even counseling. I think in today's life, there's so many more methods of actually helping a person out at this stage.
Yeah.
There's so many more, like, I know CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, all of those type of things. And I'm not saying that was not available at that stage, but I don't think it's something
weren't aware
that
of it at all.
you are aware of because you don't know really how to deal with these things. So I never went for that. I only did the medication part. And I can remember after that one day meeting with a lady from your church. And again, she didn't know me from anywhere, but thinking back at how, they're also trying to help.
Yeah.
Like that is, it speaks volumes when you actually see people caring that don't even know you, right?
Yeah.
And did what she said I should do, and it just didn't do anything. But I think it's also that type of thing, like you want, now all of a sudden I want a quick fix.
Yeah.
You want it to be fixed now type of thing. And you don't realize, but it's also going to take some time. It's also going to take, and I think that's the problem with sometimes people thinking about quick fixes, because it's not just going to be a quick fix thing. And I think that's sometimes the way that things are worded. Yeah, like just try this.
Yeah.
And
try
then
these
it's going to
7 steps for 5 days.
And then it's going to change your life.
Yeah.
It's not.
No.
It definitely was not in that case. And I think the more I tried and the more I tried to do these things and not seeing the results, it just put me even further and further and further into, but then it should be the belief of, no, God abandoned me, and that's what it is. That like, how am I ever going to get out of this? And at that stage, I think I was like, well, you know what? There's no point in living if that is going to be what I have constantly. Just darkness, just no emotion, just things like that. And I was like, man, I know the signs that I that I got. Like,
that we got.
I know. There's no denying that. But it's like, I can't do that to you. I can't. can't let you go through that either. And this is a bit emotional, but it's not in
it's fine.
not in a
That's
bad
all
way.
good.
It's not. So I was like, nope, I'm not feeling anything at this stage.
Yeah.
I'm really not. And I remember thinking the one day, well, I can't, like, you can obviously see there's, like, I'm not the person that you met with, you know, at the restaurant and shared your feelings with. And I can remember telling you the one day, like, you should just leave, you know, just go. Like, I don't know what you are doing here. Like, I don't love you anymore. But it's not just you. I can remember I'm like, I don't have love for my mom or my dad or the dogs or anybody. Like, I'm just here, you know. And I don't know if you want to just add on to that, because obviously you've got to share from your side as well.
Yeah, so that day was intense. Obviously, you called me aside and it was like, listen, I know everything, this, that, and the other, but to be honest with you, I feel nothing for you, not for my mom, not my dad, not the dogs. I don't even care. Like, I am incapable of loving. So, you know, I'm wasting your time. Like, I'm wasting everybody's time. Just leave. There's no point in carrying on with the wedding arrangements if I'm not even going to love you. Like, why would you even marry someone that you don't love? Please, and your mom actually came to me as well. And, you know, she had a very serious conversation with me, and she was so kind and so nice. And she was so supportive and everything. And she said to me, listen, what you guys experienced at the beginning, it's so beautiful and everything, but I need to speak with you very seriously. And I need to tell you that we care about you a lot and we love you so much. And the last thing we want is for you to feel obligated to get married to Sharlene. Like, she told you straight to your face, man, she doesn't love you. And she told me that, you know, we will never hold it against you if you were to walk away right now. And I remember I still had a bit of a giggle in me where I was like, man, y'all don't know me for shit. And I was like, yeah, that's not happening. I am not walking away. I know that this is, you know, I saw the signs. I know this is from God. Like, yeah, nobody's going to tell me anything. And I realized, or I believed it back then, I still believe it to this day, that there was a price that I needed to pay for you. And it was absolutely worth everything that we went through. And it wasn't necessarily, I'm not saying that everybody needs to pay a specific price, but you need to have a certain amount of dedication to make a marriage work. If I could not stand by your side at the very first hurdle that we faced, like, what kind of a shitty ass husband would I be to anyone else then? And that was just the way that I viewed it. I was like, this is just the first hurdle that we're going to face, and I am going to face it and I'm going to kick its ass. And that was the thing. And to me, it was not even a discussion worth having. To me, it was as simple as, I don't care what anybody says, that this is the price I'm going to pay, and I'm going to do it without even flinching. So yes, it was challenging. It was very hard to hear the words come out of your mouth that you don't love me and you don't love anyone else and I should just leave. But at the end of the day, I knew they were lies. And I'm not saying you lied to me. I'm saying those were lies that you believed at that stage, because that's what you felt. And I just knew that you felt was not indicative of the truth. And I rejected it, and I was right.
Correct.
Boom.
But it is, and I think it's something, you know. Again, we're gonna talk further into the story as well, but I think that is such a pure way of, in a human way, showing what love really is, right? Is giving love when you can't even receive that love in return. And that is exactly like, if you as a human being could do that, like how much more does God do that?
Exactly.
And it's sometimes so difficult for a person's brain to fathom or to comprehend that, because you can't see God, but yet God is in people and God is all around us. And if that is the way that you stood by me, treated me, even though my brain couldn't comprehend or see it at that stage, that was what the truth was. And still is to this day. And it is actually such a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah. And there's a thing that you always like to say as well, and I love it as well, is the concept of loving someone when things are going well is very easy. Loving someone when you have the butterflies, it's very easy. But it's when there are challenges, when there are just these incredibly overwhelming challenges, that's when it really matters. That's when you need to step up and you need to remember that you don't love that person for the circumstances. You don't love that person because it is fun. You love that person because that person means the world to you. And regardless of the circumstances, regardless of what you're facing or what you're going through or health or whatever the case may be, you love that person. And you need to stick to that in those tough times. Because if you do, the reward is unfathomable. It's absolutely surreal, the rewards. The reward that you get for staying committed when it's tough.
Yeah, keeping the faith. And it really is. And I can't remember if it was, I think it was after I had that conversation. And it was also, your mom also wanting to protect you. So she was also the one, like, knowing what I was going through and telling me to get over my shit.
Yep.
But I think that was more of trying to protect you. And, obviously she could see how it was affecting you as well. I mean, we were young. It was, I was 21, you were 23.
Yeah.
And it's being dealt with something that you absolutely know nothing about. And trying to kind of work it out, it together type of thing. And yes, so there was then a stage just after I said that to you. I think it was after I said that to you. And after I didn't go back to the psychiatrist because I knew that, whatever, this is not helping, that I was like, there's no point in me trying to be here on this earth type of thing. And I really can't recall much of what actually did happen that day. But I do remember saying, okay, look, this is going to be it. I'm going to then just drink all of the tablets that I have available and overdose. And then I can sleep forever and then that's fine. And that is what happened. Yeah.
So that was one of the biggest challenges or biggest frights I've ever received in my life. This came only a few years after I lost my dad.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, like 4 years after. Yeah.
So death, and the thing to kind of keep in mind here is my dad passed away, and every single year after my dad passed away, someone in our family died. And it was like, what the hell? So when you tried to commit suicide that day, that was that hit freaking hard. But I remember I arrived to your house and your mom was there, and she wasn't aware of it yet at that stage.
Because I was always in my room. I think that's the thing. Like like I said, I slept a lot. And I know my mom, them always try to kind of get me awake and try to do things or try to, in the best of their ability as well, right? But there was like absolute no motivation or drive or anything. So a lot of the times I would then just be in my room.
Yeah. So I arrived there and she, welcomed me and whatever. It's like, oh, she's in her room, let's go through. And then she knocked on the door and you didn't answer. And she was like, oh, okay, cool. And, she went in and you were just out. You were out cold. And then we saw, obviously, all of the empty bottles and everything. We were like, what the actual, oh my gosh. And we needed to handle the situation extremely quickly. Now, we kept it calm. We kept it together. I immediately phoned the hospital or the dispensary I can't remember. There's a specific place in the hospital that deals with that, the poison unit or whatever. And I phoned them immediately and I was like, listen, I need your input right now. Someone just tried to commit suicide by overdose. I'm going to give you a list of everything that they took and a rough estimate of how much they took, and you need to tell me what I need to do to reverse this. And they were freaking on it. They were so on it. It was unreal. Gave them the list of the meds that you were on, gave them rough estimations, and they were very concerned because of the nature of the tablets that you took. You had a risk of going into a coma. It would not have been a case of death per se, but a coma was a very, very real possibility. And they guided us. They told us, and it was I remember it was such a catch-22 because they told us you have to sleep it off, but we're not allowed to let you sleep. And we were like, say what now? Okay, that's a bit harsh. No, you were supposed to sleep it off, but we couldn't allow you to just sleep.
Yeah,
because that could send you into a comatose state. And we were like, shit. Okay, so we needed to monitor your sleeping, or regulate your sleeping, allow you to sleep for a certain amount, and then force you awake and hydrate you like mad, feed you, and then get your body to still remain active. So I remember we needed to get you to hydrate a lot so that you needed to go to the bathroom and whatever, and just so that your system stayed active and whatever. So it was a harsh one, but they helped us really well. And
I can remember, like, even with that, I was out of it because I don't know anything. I can remember there was one stage where I, how can I say, for a few seconds, I can remember like opening my eyes and seeing you sitting there, and then basically going back to sleep again. That is a memory that I do have. But other than that, I don't remember anything.
It was harsh, and it was after that. I mean, it was so tough. It was such a difficult time, but we made it through that day.
Yes.
I think it was about 2 days. You were out of it.
So because it's so long ago, I also can't remember everything or recall everything that happened. I do remember my mom obviously having a conversation with me, but I think she kept it quiet from my dad and from my brother, Dylan, because she didn't want to.
Your dad was very, very angry about the whole situation. He was angry with God. He was angry with everything. So we didn't want to, get him to a point of like rage.
Yes.
So we were like,
it's not got like
the situation
that's not
under control.
Help
There's
no at this stage. Yes.
We handled it, and we kept it slightly under wraps.
And I'm very, very grateful that it didn't happen.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That, it's not the answer. It's never the answer.
It's never the answer.
It can, even in a state like that, it's never the answer.
No.
Because there's so many more inconveniences if
my
that
gosh.
does happen.
Yeah.
That's the reality.
And it's not just that, man. I think the big takeaway from this is something that we stand for very, very strongly now. And it's something so simple. When you're on this earth, you literally have one life.
Got one life.
That's it,
yes.
man. And I know there are people that believe in reincarnation and all of that stuff. But in this body that you are, occupying at this very moment, that opportunity you have once. And you should enjoy it. And you should really do whatever is in your abilities to do in order to get the most out of life without harming others. I think that's kind of the baseline of it. So you have one life, only one. Enjoy it to the fullest,
yes.
and embrace it. Yes, sometimes it's tough as hell, but then you fight that hell so that you get to enjoy it a little bit more at a later stage.
Yes.
And that's kind of a big part for me.
Yeah. No, for sure. That's definitely something. And I mean,
plus we have coffee on this earth.
I know.
Like, come
but
on,
at that stage
man.
we didn't drink coffee. Maybe that's the problem.
No, that's the problem. See, there we go. If only we had known.
That's a joke.
But also kind of true.
Coffee is good. Coffee is needed. So yes, I mean that's what happened, and I think after that episode, obviously, I had all of the medication. I was still not better. I still needed help. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure if it was you or if it was me or if it was your mom that said we needed to go to your GP or something like that.
Yeah, as far as I know, it was my mom who said, listen, like, this is not going well. Take her to our doctor.
Yes.
And then I took you.
And you took me to
our doctor.
Your GP.
Our GP. Now, this gentleman, oh my gosh, he is the most legit. He's an elderly doctor. I don't even think he's practicing anymore,
Probably
to be
not.
honest. But anyways, he is one of the most incredible doctors, and he has the most incredible way of just speaking to you. And I remember he was very similar to your cousin in that he just kind of lightened it.
Yes.
And he was like, oh, don't you worry. We're going to fix you up good and solid. And he prescribed a antidepressant that my mom was actually on at the time as well. And you started taking that.
And that was one that I have to say, I think worked.
That one, no, it definitely worked. It definitely worked. You don't have to think.
Don't have to think.
It worked.
It worked. Yes. And I can't remember how long after I started using that, but it did. It definitely did.
Yeah. It was about 2 months, if I can recall correctly, where we could start seeing, oh, wait, you're smiling again. And it was your eyes. There was life in your eyes again. It wasn't that just dull, just... there was life in your eyes, and you started to just kind of show signs of enjoyment, and that was a special moment.
Yes.
And I remember there was a very long time during this that you never even mentioned that you loved me.
Yes,
I would say it to you because I was like, you will know
you will
that I
hear
love you. And you just...
But I didn't.
Yeah. And I remember the thing that broke me probably the most is there was a time when we would hold hands, where
and
I would hold your hand and you just had a limp hand. You just
it was just there.
And I remember the first time that I took your hand and you just closed your hand around mine. Man, I'ma say it, that fucking hit. That hit me so hard. I was like, there it is. And that was a special moment. Just that, and it sounds like such a small thing, but just
But it's
feeling
not.
that person's hand
is always
just
a big thing.
kind of closing up around you as you're like, there it is. And it wasn't long after that that you actually, replied with, I love you too, and it was special, man. So
yeah. But I think that's the thing, like a person, and to this day, like it's a constant thing that you have to remind yourself of. And I think that's the thing, like because we go through things, you sometimes want to linger on the past.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Not linger. You kind of want to, well, yeah, call it linger, but it's also like you
hold on.
Or there's because it's something that you don't understand or that you don't really have legitimate straight answers to.
Yeah.
You don't understand. It's something that you very easily can fall back into because that's the familiar part where your brain kind of wants to hold on to, if I can say that. And it's a constant thing that you have to remind yourself that you are not there, that you are not in that state anymore, that you are not, that everything is fine, that
it's mindfulness.
It's mindfulness. And it is, I mean, they always talk about the battlefield of the mind, and that's one of the greatest battles that we face on this earth. And I can honestly say that it is. Like, we have gone through such a lot of stuff already. I mean, we have had financial difficulties. We've had death in the family. We've had...
Oh my gosh, we've had so much death. It's unreal.
We've had, I mean, so many things, that challenges and things like that. But none of those things can ever compare of being difficult in how you make it inside of you, right? The battle within is sometimes the hardest battle to fight.
Yeah.
All of those other things are...
Man, it's just like, whatever.
And I think that's one of the stuff, like you said in the beginning as well, like you knew that there was a price to pay and it's a hurdle to overcome. And I think that's why with our marriage, any difficulty that we go through or challenge that we are faced with, we do face it together. And
absolutely.
We do look for a way out and look for, the positive, because people so quickly want to give up when things go hard, and especially when it's financial stuff. That is something that confuses my brain, like, and can't tell you.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I just don't get it. But I think if there's like a bigger challenge that you face, then all of those challenges almost
seem
mean
so
nothing.
Insignificant.
Seem so insignificant to what there actually is. So yes, that is definitely the thing. I think, we can talk about it, but yes, I took the antidepressants again, and I was on it for quite a while. I can remember.
Yeah, that was good. Well,
and I do remember, I can remember actually the first time that I did hold your hand again, and when we got to prepare our wedding and the wedding day and all of that. And again, like I said, so many times a person's brain want to tell you, but those feelings, like, why wasn't it there? But it was.
Yeah.
And sometimes we want to hold on longer.
Yeah.
When it's not necessary.
I think that's the thing. Like, you think about our story and how we got together, and you would think, oh my gosh, that is like so overwhelmingly beautiful, and you were probably just exploding on the inside with joy and excitement or whatever. That's what you would kind of expect. And with everything that you went through, I think you really did experience a very good, beautiful, powerful wedding. But because of the story and the way that you think you should have felt, you kind of downplay how you really felt.
How you really felt, yes.
And I know that was a very difficult sentence to construct, but I think you understand what I mean. And it all turned out extremely well and very beautiful. Yes. And I mean, we've been married now for 16 years.
Going on 16 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's a month or so away and 2 months away. What is the day today? Anyways, a month and a half away. And I can honestly say, that was definitely one of the most difficult challenges we've faced. But man, we're here this day.
Yes.
We love each other more every single day. We like each other.
We do. I think that's the important thing. A person has to like the person that you are with as well, not just love.
And that is going to be another topic that we are going to discuss on one of our podcasts very soon. So do stick around.
Yes.
But is there anything else that you want to share, or can I give them the weekly challenge?
I think we pretty much shared everything.
I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
So for this week's weekly joy challenge, we're going to give you guys a fun one. It's simple. We're going to give you one of these every week just to enjoy life. And this one is meaningful but very simple, but it changes everything. The person in your life that is there, whether it's your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your mom, your dad, your spouse. If you do have a spouse, it has to be your spouse. Walk up to them and tell them you love them. If you tell them you love them on a regular basis, double it. I think it's such an important thing. Just acknowledge the love and share the love. And the more we say it, the more we acknowledge it, the closer we become, and the more you are going to love. It's a beautiful circle.
I think it's also that type of thing of, it can sometimes get so cliche almost. And that is something that I have noticed. Sometimes it can be like, love you.
Yeah.
Actually mean it. Like actually look the person in the eye and tell them that.
Yeah.
Like actually.
And also not just
be mindful about it. I think that's exactly
it. Not just when you leave the house or when you get back, like randomly.
Yes.
Whilst the person is washing the dishes, walk up to them, take their hands out of the sink, physically use your hands and turn them towards you, look them straight in the eye and go, I really love you and I appreciate you and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. And then you give them a kiss. And I promise you, you will reap the rewards of that.
Definitely. Thing that you guys would like to know, and anything that you want us to speak about, or anything that you maybe want us to go into deeper conversation with or about, you can just let us know, and then
or if you're just curious about our thoughts on a specific topic, do share it. Let us know. Please we will most happily share our thoughts and opinions with you without a problem.
Correct.
Thank you so very much for watching. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for sharing love. I know it's welcome. A very difficult one to talk about, but it's important.
It is.
And now, those are the two really deep, hectic episodes. From here on out, it's going to get fun. But I think it was very important to share with everyone
to share,
why they should care about what we have to say.
Correct.
Right. Thank you all so very much for watching.
Yes.
And we'll catch you in the next episode of Make Life Fun Again.
Yes.